Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you join me here in Sanctuary Hills. This is my kind of main original save file, so the character that's basically like, I can't even remember now. We're level 72 and everything. So for our next part of the Wasteland survival guide is weapons. So it's kind of a given that you're going to need to carry some sort of weapon when you're gathering about the wasteland, because there's so many dangers out there, like we've already discussed quite extensively on the channel. And that means that you need to find weapons. So most people in the wasteland are armed in some way, no matter where they are and how often they are travelling or how far away they travel. And obviously your choice of weapon does depend a bit on your playstyle, your perk distribution, your skill point distribution, all that kind of stuff. But it stands to reason that the most common prevalent weapons in the pre-war world are the ones that are more commonplace after the bombs have fallen. So things like your knives, your baseball bats, shotguns and hunting rifles potentially, and of course your classic, the 10mm pistol. Rarer kind of military grade weapons like your missile launchers, your nuke launchers, miniguns, things like that, they are going to be harder to find, but potentially more desirable because they're more effective. Same goes for your energy weapons like the laser stuff and your plasma stuff, that kind of thing, and the Gauss rifle, whichever way you pronounce it. They're rarer and harder to find because they were military grade, so they weren't really distributed to the population. So where would you go looking for weapons? So obviously anybody that you kill, anybody that you get into a fight with, if they have weapons, you can then just take them for yourself, and that's fine. But there are other places that you can go looking. So a lot of the vaults did have an armory of some kind. If they had a security team, they would have had an armory. So there is a safe bet that you'll find things like security batons, and the classic 10mm pistol will be available there as well. Police stations and military locations are also a safe bet, especially if you're looking for something a bit more advanced. Fallout 4 certainly is a map that is full of that kind of stuff. So, you know, you've got Cambridge Police Station here, you've got, where is it? There's like the National Guard's armory somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it lives. Yeah, there you go. National Guard Training Yard. You've got Fort Strong, which is where all the nukes are. So there's lots of kind of military checkpoints, military locations dotted about the map where you could potentially find some of the more advanced stuff. And it's important to bear in mind that some of the bigger factions will hoard certain weapons, especially the kind of higher level energy weapons and the more advanced kind of guns and things like that. So Brotherhood of Steel, they tend to like to use their energy weapons and their power armour. The Enclave as well, similar kind of deal, that they tend to collect energy weapons and they tend to use them alongside advanced power armour and things to make them a threat. And the gunners that are in this game in Fallout 4 as well, they have taken over a lot of kind of major bases, and they have collected, and they often, especially their higher ranks, tend to use quite advanced guns as well. So something to be aware of. Obviously, one other option you've got is shopping. So there are merchants about, there's travelling merchants, and there's, you know, actual traders that are located in settlements and things like that, and they'll buy and sell weapons. A lot of them will anyway, in all the games really. You also have like Mo Cronin, who's based in Diamond City here, and he's got a nice variety of baseball bats, and a very interesting interpretation of the game of baseball, which is quite fun. And if you've played Fallout New Vegas, then you have obviously the Van Graffs, who are based in Freeside, and they sell pretty much exclusively energy weapons and sort of plasma explosives and things like that. Obviously in a pinch, you could use something like... did I pick one up? Yeah, so you could use a tire iron. Not the most advanced, but you know what, it gets the job done. Even a rolling pin, they can be quite hefty, although probably not the most efficient method of defending yourself. So if you're planning to go and adventure in the Wasteland, you're probably going to want something better than that. So if you can't collect these things, then you can make your own. So large-scale manufacturing is pretty rare in the Wasteland, as both the methods and means of production are pretty lacking. The factories are all kind of rusting away. Most people don't know how to work these things, how to make these things. But there are some places where manufacturing is still going on. The gunrunners, they have a big factory and everything set up in New Vegas. They're obviously manufacturing guns and repairing scavenger guns on quite a large scale and selling them, which has proven to be a pretty lucrative business for them. Other kind of big factions, with the Brotherhood and the Enclave and their kind of focus on technology, they would have some capacity to manufacture weapons and things like that. They would obviously have some capacity in that regard. The Enclave especially have quite a lot of kind of advanced technology and availability of things to make that. The Institute to a degree as well, that they have their own unique kind of energy weapons in this game that the synths are armed with, that kind of thing. So some of these technical, the big factions that get access to technology potentially could do, but for your average Wastelander, it's not really that straightforward. You do come across some kind of homemade things that are made on a smaller scale, so things like your pipe weaponry, which you can see is, a pipe with a block of wood tied onto it and some metal reinforced. There's just tape around the grip, all that kind of thing. So, it's obviously not something that's designed to be a gun, but you've just pieced together bits and pieces you found in order to make one. So there is some of that kind of thing, little homemade techniques going on as well. In terms of the crafting, the systems vary massively between the games, and when it comes to weapon crafting, I have to say Fallout 3 wins for making unique weapons yourself. Which I think is something that potentially the other games might have benefited from having more of that. New Vegas and Fallout 4 you can make your own explosives and things, and in Fallout 4 you can make ammo for your syringe rifle, but in terms of making actual firearms and, melee weapons and things, you don't really make them from scratch, but Fallout 3 you can do, and there's some pretty unique ones which I do really enjoy, so I'll pop them up on the screen. So you've got your bottle cap mine, which is a handy explosive that leaves you some money behind once it's all said and done. You've got the dart gun, which cripples legs and makes the death claws much less threatening and easier to deal with. And then if you manage to kill the Deathclaw, then you can make yourself a Deathclaw Gauntlet, which is the strongest unarmed weapon in the game. Now you're the Deathclaw. The Nuka Grenade, which you can get as a reward from Sierra Petrovita, is the quantum-powered explosive that you would definitely want to have. It's pretty effective. And one of my favourites is the rocket launcher. So you've been killing people with garden gnomes and teddy bears since 2277. Highly recommended. It's good fun. You can it uses any kind of miscellaneous items as ammo, which makes for some quite entertaining kill cams and things, I think. Shish kebab, because who doesn't love a flaming sword? Who doesn't look badass with a flaming sword? The railway rifle, which gives you a nice quick way to redecorate your space with the limbs and heads of your foes by pinning them to the wall. So the Fallout 3 weapons I really like, the ones that you can craft. It's really good fun, and it makes for some interesting, and reasons to collect some of the junk items and things, because obviously Fallout 4 has a big junk economy where you can collect stuff and scrap them. There's less of that in 3 New Vegas, but in Fallout 3 the options that you do have for that I think are really, really good. Fallout New Vegas does have a pretty good crafting system, but you can't really make many weapons from scratch, as I said, except for kind of explosives, which if you have Gunrunner's Arsenal and you take the Mad Bomber perk, you've got even more options for creating explosives, which are really quite fun. You've also got, you can get the schematics to make the dog tag fist, which is another unarmed weapon that's made from the NCR's dog tags. But the one thing about Fallout New Vegas that Fallout 3 was lacking is the mod system. So all your weapons in Fallout New Vegas, you can buy mods to change some of their properties to make them more powerful, to add night scopes, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's quite a good system as well. And then obviously talking about here in Fallout 3, Fallout 4 even. So in Fallout 4, you can't really make weapons other than explosives from scratch, but what you do have is a much more advanced crafting system where you can, you can come in and you can change all kinds of factors. Gauss rifles maybe not the best example. Let's look at the hunting rifle. So, you can make it lighter, you can make it heavier, which does improve the damage. You can improve the fire rate, get better critical damage. You can change which ammo type it uses, which affects its power, all these different things. You can change the barrels to all different things, the stock, and, adding suppressors, all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really quite a complex system for mods and upgrades for your weapons, which I do also really like, because you can make things that are going to then suit your sort of play style. If you are on a VATS kind of heavy build, so you want things that are going to improve your action point usage and that kind of thing. So I think that's a really good system. You can make weapons from scratch if you have the Contraptions Workshop, because you can then build machines that let you put materials in and manufacturing. There it is. Yeah. So machinery. So you do have the option of creating things. There's an armor forge, there's a weapon forge. You can use the terminal to decide what to build and you feed materials into it. There's also one for ammo, energy weapon forge, heavy weapon forge, and an ammunition plant. So the Contraptions add-on does give you the means of manufacturing things, which is quite an interesting, and I think that's quite a good addition, especially if you're role-playing and you're building your settlements and you want to arm all your settlers properly and give them uniforms, potentially, all that kind of stuff. No, not now, Hancock. Go away. It gives you a lot of options for that, which I think is really, really cool. One of the things, when it comes to maintenance, that's obviously an important factor to consider. And in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you have weapon condition. So your weapon loses condition when you're using it in combat, or if it's been hit during combat by somebody shooting your weapon or something like that, then that reduces the condition. And certain ammo types can do the same and wear it out faster, essentially. So you do need to kind of keep on top of repairing your loadout and maintaining it. You can obviously just pay someone to do it for you. That's the thing that's available in both games, and the price will depend on how damaged the weapon is and how good the repair skill of the person is as well. The other option is you do it yourself by basically blending together the same weapon when you find more of them. So if you find more varmint rifles, you put them together and that kind of repairs them. But there is a perk in Fallout New Vegas, which is one that I really quite like, which is jury rigging. So that makes it easier because you can just use similar weapons to repair a weapon instead of having to use the exact same type, which gives you a bit more flexibility, especially when you're trying to repair kind of rarer guns or some of your unique weapons that you find in that game. But Fallout 4 kind of loses that system for a much more complex modding and upgrade system, as well as your sort of legendary variants, which is a system that I do also really like. I like the legendary system, and I do like the, just the sheer variety of things that are available in this game for you, so you can really tailor it to suit you. Obviously the weapon condition system, that kind of applies in terms of realism. That would make sense that these weapons that potentially been made a couple of 100 years ago, when they're being used, their kind of condition's going to degrade and potentially they'll break down and need repaired. That's kind of a given. And it's interesting that they kind of took that out of that in Fallout 4. The one thing about it is that, it does, if the weapon condition drops, then your damage output is dropped, and sometimes the guns will jam when you're trying to reload and things. So that, again, brings a bit more realism into it. And it's quite interesting. But the decision was obviously made to take that out of Fallout 4, which is fair enough, because you're obviously spending a lot of time crafting and building settlements and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of see why they did decide to do that. The one thing that I think is a bit strange is that they decided to bring it back for Fallout 76, and they made it a lot more tedious. So instead of just blending together the same guns, you had to use junk that you collected in scrap in order to repair your weapons. And that just made it quite tedious, especially, you could burn through a couple of guns' condition when taking down the Scorch Beasts, and then you'd have to go and find enough scrap to repair it all and replace all your ammo, because those things were a nightmare to take down. And you just spent a lot of time collecting junk, like to repair your weapons, to repair your armour, to make more ammo, because you've gone through about 200 bullets dealing with one single Scorch Beast, because they're such tanky bullet sponges. It's something that I think was potentially not great in the game. I have to admit, I've not played Fallout 76 since kind of shortly after it launched on the PS4. And I do believe that the game is a lot better now than it was at launch, and a lot of things have been improved. But so I don't really know exactly how that all works now in the current iteration of Fallout 76, but certainly at the beginning when that game came out, it was something that I found really, really tedious. And I know that online games, I have played MMOs before and things, and there is a bit of tedium to it, but it just felt like it got really kind of frustrating. So I'm not sure that was the best decision. But yeah, anyway, it's something. So you have such a variety of weapons available to you. So you've got your unarmed weapons. I've just basically made a little diorama of some of the interesting ones that we've got. So you've got your knuckles, and then you can upgrade that to some kind of power fist. This is the frigid power fist. You've got your blades, so you can get combat knives, you can get machetes, you can get Cthulhu-esque kind of terrifying looking thing, sledgehammers, baseball bats, all that kind of stuff, which is quite fun. And then into the weapons, you generally start out the game finding pipe weapons, and you'll pick up your 10mm pistol while you're in the vault, because 10mm pistols are everywhere. But as you progress through the game, you can upgrade to... You can stay with pistols for pretty much the entire game if you want to. That's Kellogg's pistol, which I took off his body, because screw that guy. Or you can switch into your rifle grip things. So I've got a few here. I've got a combat rifle, combat shotgun, sniper rifle, and then some of the more advanced things here. So we've got our shish kebab, which is the flamey weapon, which is quite fun. I like the new design. I like the original design from Fallout 3 as well, but I do like this new design. It's quite interesting. Gauss rifle. And this is my favourite, actually, is the Sentinel's Plasma Caster. So I did the Brotherhood ending on this save file, so I ended up getting this, which is an absolute beast. And then I've got some of the heavy weapons. Go with Preston. Bloody Preston Garvey every time. Anyway, so yeah, we've got some of the nice heavy weapons. So we've got the Lucky Missile Launcher, which is interesting. Got a Shreddy minigun, which is terrifying, but effective. And Fat Man, so this is just a basic bog standard Fat Man nuke launcher as well. So it gives you, there's a really nice variety, and that applies to all the games really. And while they all take kind of different approaches to weapon design and the way skills work, the way perks work, all that kind of stuff, I think that it's fun to have a variety, and I think it's fun to experiment with different playthroughs and try and, using a different type of weapon than you always do, same as playing Skyrim, where last time I played Skyrim I really tried very hard to not just become a stealth archer, because there is a lot more to the combat, and it's worth trying new things. But obviously if you're going to use guns of any kind, one thing that you are going to need is ammo. So you're going to need ammunition. Some of your weapons are going to go through a lot of ammo very quickly, especially your automatic, rapid fire, and your high-powered energy weapons. There's some of the energy weapons in Fallout New Vegas that do use like several energy cells or microfusion cells instead of just one at a time. So you want to be kind of prepared for that. And obviously the rarer weapons tend to use rarer ammo, so if you're using them, especially in the earlier part of the game where you haven't maybe stockpiled as much, you do need to be a bit cautious. Especially something like the alien ones are really easy to find here. But if you've ever got the Fire Lance event in Fallout 3, it's only happened to me once in all my years of playing the game, and trying to find enough ammo for it was challenging, even with Dogmeat's help, so something to bear in mind, I think. And the thing about it as well is that in Fallout 3, there's no option for you to craft ammunition. You have to find it or you have to buy it. That's really the only way that you're going to get it. Fallout 4 is kind of the same until the Contraptions add-on, where again you can build an ammo forge machine that produces what you want, but you obviously have to then feed junk into it in order to create the ammo that you need, but it's still quite a cool thing. And I have to say, the ammo side of things is where Fallout New Vegas really shines, so bear with me. We are going to head over out west and have a look at that in Fallout New Vegas, because I think it'd be good to really kind of look through the menus and stuff to talk about that, so bear with me just a second. There we go, so we've just teleported west. There seems to be a lot of wind Brahmin in town today, so yep, we're here in Good Springs with Easy Pete and the Wind Brahmin on the creaky sign. I do love Good Springs, it's such a fun little place, but I wanted to come here to talk about ammo crafting and things, because this is something that Fallout New Vegas had that Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 didn't have, and I think they probably should have had. I think it's a really good thing. So with the reloading bench, you have a lot of options for dealing with your ammunition, so you can break down ammo that you've got into the different components, so the casings, the lead, the powder and the primer. So you can do that with pretty much all the ammo types, and then when you've got all those things, you can then make the ammo that you need. So it gives you a way of converting kind of common ammo, like say your 10mm ammo, into something that's a bit rarer, like your 44 Magnum or 357 Magnum, that kind of thing. So you can do that. You can make, say for the shotgun, you've got so many options for the 12 gauge, your buckshot, coin shot, slugs, all these things. And breaking down scrap metal, breaking down, into nails for the nail gun, all that kind of thing. Some of these were added by DLC, but the reloading bench, you really do have a lot of options, and you can buy and you can find some of these components as well. So it gives you the option of breaking down one ammo type to create another one. And then if you look at the workbench as well, so for your energy weapons, you also have a lot of options if you have the right science skills. So you can convert like electron charge packs to microfusion cells. You can convert all the energy weapon types into each other. You can convert your missiles into rockets. That was added by Lonesome Road. You can recycle, so you get the drained ones and then you can recycle them into new ones. You can even do that with your flamer fuel and things. You can also optimise them. You can add max charge, overcharge, so improving the damage output at the expense of your weapon condition. Just look at the list here, and this is all just for converting energy weapon ammo and recycling energy weapon ammo and improving. And that's one of the things that I think was really, really good with Fallout New Vegas, because you had so many ammo types. So for some weapons you could have. I don't actually know what I've got on this character at all. It's been that long. But yeah, so like, you know, you've got quite a few different kind of shotgun variants. So you've got like your 5.56, you've got armor piercing, which, you know, pierces through armor. You can get hollow point, which is more effective on enemies that don't have any armor. Camera film, which counts as ammo because the camera counts as a gun, which is quite funny. Then you've got like your bulk energy cells, which are sort of cheaper but also not as effective, or you can have the overcharged ones that do more damage. And the game just really gives you so many options for ammo, and you can tailor your loadout to the situation you're in, and then convert an ammo back and forward to kind of convert it into the kind of ammo that you need. You know, getting rid of common ammo for something that's a bit rarer, that's going to be more effective in stronger guns, that kind of thing. So I think that's something that Fallout New Vegas definitely got right, and I think it was something that was really kind of lacking in the Bethesda made Fallout games. You know, I mean, I know that there's a lot of strong opinions about these things. I like all the Fallout games. I like them all. I like them for different reasons, but I do like them all, enjoy playing them all. Always will. I wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case. But I do think this is one aspect where Fallout New Vegas really shined, was the ammo and the varieties that were available, and the ability to, you know, scavenge and recycle ammo and to convert it and things. I think that's something that's really, really good. Because Fallout New Vegas does, well, you can't really craft many actual weapons. The rest of the crafting system is really, really interesting. It's really good. So, you know, kind of auto-inject stim packs. You can convert junk items into metal, and you can make doctor's bags. You can make belts, which it's always a bit of a strange one because I don't really know what you're supposed to do with them once you make them. You can just make them. But you can, you know, you can make explosives, and then even, you know, Old World Blues gives you the option to make skill books and stuff. And then the campfire, you can cook food and things. So it's really good crafting system that was definitely expanded on in Fallout 4 in a lot of ways. But, you know, taking away the kind of ammo crafting thing, I think was maybe a bit of a misstep. I think that would have been really good in Fallout 4, because you're already doing everything else with all the junk you collect, so why not just add ammunition into that as well? But yeah, you know, you need to be prepared, because we've obviously already discussed a lot of the dangers in the Wasteland, and once you've got shelter, once you've got water, food, access to medicine as needed, that kind of thing, then if you're going to go out prospecting, if you're going to go out scavenging, you need to keep yourself safe. So having weapons and knowing where to find good weapons is definitely going to be helpful in the survival. So hopefully you've enjoyed that little rundown, and let me know what you think. Do you have a preference for the different systems? Do you agree that Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 could have done with some kind of ammo crafting system as well? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks so much for watching and for all the support in the channel. It's nice to see the channel's kind of continuing to grow. And yeah, I'm excited to bring more stuff for you very soon. So I will see you later. Bye!